The dust is settling on the redesigned Lexus GX, a GX 550, and while most of us are pretty much over the moon with the design and the upgrades that it offers, it is by far from a perfect vehicle. And in today's video, I'm going to cover the top 10 things that leave me wanting more with the new Lexus GX. Let's go. If you're excited for the new GX, smash the heck out of that like button. But also make sure you subscribe. The driving event will probably be in January from what I'm hearing of 2024. Availability will be around that same time. In the meantime, we'll also get a reveal of the new Land Cruiser, which has been confirmed here in America. Yes, the return of the Land Cruiser, which should share pretty much everything with this. Maybe not powertrains, but that's another video altogether. But these are in no particular order, but coming in at number 1, the new GX needs better fuel economy. The old GX 460 with the 4.6 liter V8 with the 6-speed auto got us 16 miles per gallon. Now, the twin turbo V6 gets us also a 10-speed auto mated to it. It only gets us 17 miles per gallon. Now, you might be saying, Kirk, well, at least it gives us around 50 more horsepower. Well, that's true. And it gives us around 150 more pound-feet of torque, which is also true, and I guess those are welcome benefits. So you're getting more power and torque, but with a powertrain that's a decade newer at least, it shouldn't be hard to easily get 3-4 more miles per gallon, you would think, out of this twin turbo V6 setup. And you might be saying, Kirk, well, fuel economy is important to you. Maybe you shouldn't be spending 70 to 80 grand on a GX. I get it, but that means also less stops at the gas station. It's not just about money. It's also about convenience. And also, if you're doing some off-roading, you would like to have a little bit better fuel economy so you can stay out on the trail longer. You might be saying, well, Kirk, what about the hybrid? There's going to be a hybrid variant that will improve fuel economy. Yes, we'll get to the hybrid later. That's a different topic and downfall of the GX in the next bullet point. But let's get into number 2, the too safe interior on the Lexus GX. Before we hop into the images and talk about the interior, we don't have a lot of options here. Dapple gray, which we saw first on the RZ, and it's a very dark gray, which isn't going to look that much different than the black. You also have amazing saddle tan. I'm very happy about that. But you also have Chateau with the olive, but that's exclusive on the Overtrail. Unfortunately, we don't get a full-blown Chateau on the non-Overtrail models. If we look at the current GX, it has Rioja red and Nulux or semi-aniline leather. We have no red option here on the interior of the GX. Now, looking at this, some might think if it didn't have a Lexus badge here in the middle, it would be a Toyota interior. At first glance, it really doesn't look, I guess it looks a little bit more clean compared to, let's say, a Sequoia or something. Where are my switches for climate control? When you're doing off-roading, one of the last things you won't have to worry about is where is your dedicated switch for climate control. Now, it's all going to be built into the touchscreen and you can get used to it, but having physical buttons, there's no replacement for that in my opinion. And that's where the LX is one of the few things the LX does that it's a little bit better, is just having dedicated knobs, switches, and buttons for functions in the vehicle, especially when it comes to climate control. Also, kind of like the NX and RX, the dash here is pretty basic. Where's our nice stitching? Where's the wood? Speaking of wood, there's no wood to be found in the new GX. This trim here, there's really only 2 that you get, black grain trim and brown grain trim, and they're both plastic. There's no wood to be found. Now look how basic these seats are too. This looks like something taken out of Toyota. Now the quality is better. The Nulux as well as the semi-aniline leather are going to be far superior, as well as all the materials in here. They are very, everything to the touch is very soft and premium feeling, but when it comes to looking at it, it also should look the part as well. And just going full on minimum, like this is extremely basic even for a Lexus GX. I will give it this though, this isn't just gonna be a complete teardown video because look, we have about double the cargo capacity compared to the last GX, so at least that's satisfactory. Now here's that dapple gray. It's two-toned with the black. Here's the Chateau with olive only on the Overtrail. Notice the third row missing here. And here's the saddle, which is going to be one of the more popular colors, and I'm really happy about this. But I do wish the seats were fully saddle instead of having two-tone. So there's, other than black, all the other colors here are two-toned. And the bolsters are all in black. And look at the door trim. Does this scream luxury to you? This looks very basic, and I would expect this to be on a Toyota, to be honest. Even though this is a nice touch point, it's very soft and leather-like, this interesting, beehive pattern. And where's my fancy Lexus stitching? Yes, I guess maybe I get a little bit here below the armrest, but it's very basic on the top. Maybe I spent too much time on bagging on the interior. There's just a lot to dissect there. But number 3, the Overtrail only comes in 2 rows. So Lexus is assuming that you're never going to be bringing the family along when you're going off-road or off to remote places. That is a bummer, because I know a lot of people even said in the comments that they would have loved to have the Overtrail with 3 rows. And maybe they didn't even plan on taking it off-road. They just like the 33-inch wheels and tires. They like having the rear locking diff. They like having the electronic eKDSS, which we'll talk more about in a little bit. And also on the Overtrail, there is no option of the panoramic roof. It looks like it's exclusive to the Luxury Plus trim. Now, it's great that we actually have a panel roof because the LX doesn't have it, so I'm happy about that, but it's nailed down only to the Luxury Plus trim, which is going to cost $75,000, $80,000 would be my guess. Moving on to point number 4, the hybrid is not available at launch. All we know is that it's coming at a later date. And Lexus of America didn't give us any information on what type of hybrid it was. We had to go to the Japanese press release where they actually have detailed images of the hybrid setup here. And it is the kind of like the iForce Max setup that we see from the Tacoma, which is around 326 horsepower and like 465 pound-feet of torque. And I would expect it to be maybe a little bit more horsepower because this will be probably rated on premium fuel here. So maybe around 330 or 340 horsepower, and torque should remain the same. So this sort of setup likely to have an 8-speed auto as well. And it would have been great also to have a plug-in hybrid, but that probably won't come until solid-state batteries or something. But unfortunately for the GX, it's not getting the twin-turbo V6 hybrid. It doesn't look like either. Is it possible that it could come in the future? Sure, but we'll talk more about that in a separate point as a twin-turbo V6 hybrid, which is likely coming for the LX 700H. And we're getting a smaller, less powerful setup than we see something like in a Sequoia. It doesn't sit well with me for a Lexus product. Lexus product should have that edge up in terms of, or at least equivalent in terms of powertrains. And Lexus is seeing this as a smaller vehicle and giving it a smaller hybrid powertrain as a result as well. Here's one last image of it with the transfer case, probably the 8-speed auto here and the small 2.4 liter turbo. Now, maybe I'll change my opinion on it after driving it, and maybe it's buttery smooth and also giving us 20 plus miles per gallon. I think this would be an absolute no-brainer of a choice over the twin-turbo V6, especially if it gives us higher output of the power, because there's only a 400-watt power outlet on the GX twin-turbo V6. So I'm looking for about 2,000 more watts here like we see in the upcoming Tacoma. Now, the good news is we'll see this fairly soon. So the GX launches in 2024. And the hybrid powertrain has to come by the end of 2025 because that's Lexus and Toyota's deadline to have a hybrid variant of all their models. Moving on to number 5, one thing I'm pretty disappointed about is the exclusive and hard to get nature of one of the world's best sound systems, the Mark Levinson 21 speaker, 1800 watts. Now, it is standard on the Luxury Plus, not a surprise. It's available on the Luxury, but it's not available on the Premium Plus. It's also not available on the base Overtrail, and it's not standard on the Overtrail Plus. It is an option on the Overtrail Plus. So why I'm a little upset about it is because it seems the Lexus TX is getting a very similar setup, 21 speaker Mark Levinson, but look, you can get this on the Premium as an option. It's also an option on the Luxury. It's an option on the F-Sport Performance. It's standard on the Performance Luxury, and it's standard on the Luxury plug-in hybrid of that model as well. So the availability of it is better on the TX, which was also featured in the double feature in Austin, Texas. But if we go to the good old current GX 460 with the Mark Lev, and now keep in mind, it's a much lesser system, 330 watts and 17 speakers compared to the 21 and 1800 watts. It still sounds amazing, to be honest. But you can get it on the GX Premium and GX Luxury. But also, the Premium Plus package comes with it standard. Number 6 was going to be no climate control buttons and switches, but I already lumped that in to number 2, and 2 was a very long one. So 2 can take up 2 spots on the list. So let's skip over 6 and go to number 7 on the list, is no electronic KDSS for the models that are underneath the Overtrail models. It's exclusive to the Overtrails, which again only have 5 seats. Now KDSS, the old hydraulic version, was standard across the GX 460 lineup, and it actually debuted in the 470 as an option, standard on the 460, and here it's exclusive to the Overtrail models. I just don't think that's quite fair in my opinion. It should be available on the Premium Plus, or at least standard on the Premium Plus, if not standard on the Luxury. We actually don't have this electronic KDSS or kinetic dynamic suspension system on the LX 600. It is exclusive, I think, to the GR Sport of the Land Cruiser 300 series. And unlike the conventional mechanical KDSS, the eKDSS is an independent front and rear electronic control system. The system locks or releases the front and rear anti-roll bars independently, giving the vehicle added flexibility of movement. So the Overtrail getting its exclusive system, as well as the rear locker, just is unfortunate. I wish those things were available on a base grade. All right, moving on to paint colors, we get our typical Lexus bathing of grays, silvers, blacks, and a white color. Now, I'm very happy about a few of these actually. Incognito, this is a cool grayish color. Some people compare it to Porsche's Nardo Gray. I really like it. It's on the TX F Sport. It's also on the IS 500 F Sport Performance model we first saw it on. And I'm also very happy about Nori Green, because you can combine the Nori Green with the Saddle Tan for that beautiful combo. The new Earth color, while I'm happy about it, it's exclusive to the Overtrail model. So yeah, my excitement for it is tamed. And we have Nightfall Mica, whatever, a nice blue color. But Lexus has a great library of colors that we're not getting here. The Copper Crest is just amazing. How sick would it be if you saw a GX Luxury in Copper Crest? The new LC500 is getting this amazing color. Why can't the GX have it? With a nice two-tone roof would be pretty sick as well. Ultrasonic Mica, a nice bright blue would have been great to feature this on the GX, maybe as an F Sport. We'll talk about that in a little bit. That's another point altogether. And what about Flare Yellow? One of my favorite Lexus colors. It reminds me of a little bit of the Nissan Xterra that had the yellow. Obviously, this is a much superior yellow, but how cool if we saw the GX in this. Also, infrared would be awesome. You'd be getting a lot of eyes, and this maybe be a great color for an F Sport model. And if you want this thing to go against the G-Wagon, look at all these colors the G-Wagon has. Like, holy smokes, they don't have a yellow, so that's, but look at this light blue. It looks pretty cool. You can get it in brown, which is terrible, but I do see some brown G-Wagons every once in a while. So just look at the availability of these colors on the G-Wagon here. Like this Robin's Egg Blue would be pretty cool as well. And what about an orange? If you want this to be a fun off-roader, give us an orange, but I guess that's maybe for the upcoming Land Cruiser from Toyota to feature those exclusive like TRD Pro colors and whatnot. And this color Nebula Gray is ancient. Why can't we get the new Cloudburst color that's going to be offered on the TX? And Grecian Water would also been a great color, I think, on the GX as well to catch some more eyes. We also don't have any semi-matte colors. Toyota has been teasing a lot that matte color on the Crown Sport. And we've also seen semi-matte colors on special editions of the GSF and RCF before. So it would have been cool to have a semi-matte color, because a lot of G-Wagons I see rolling around town, I don't know if they're wraps or not. It tells you how little I know about G-Wagons, but a semi-matte color would be amazing, black or gray or gunmetal gray. All right, coming at number 9, no F Sport or F Sport Performance grades of the GX. Now you might be saying, Kirk, this is more of a Land Cruiser, it's an off-roader. Why even have that? Well, the LX 600 brought an F Sport, so why not have more variety here with the GX as well? I think a lot of people would be interested. Look, Lexus is offering 22-inch wheels on this. this gives you an idea of what the luxury is going to look like with the 22s. Why not give it the F Sport grade, give it a unique front end, give it bigger brakes, give it adaptive variable suspension, and maybe active ride height. Active ride height's not even an option on the GX like it is on the LX. It's not that big of a deal for me, but I felt like throwing it in there. Now, how awesome if the F Sport also had eKDSS on it to give it a better suspension on and off-road. I know 22 is off-road, it's a bit silly, but have bigger brakes, give it some unique styling flair, unique grille, and give us better interior options. Give us a bright red interior, give us a white interior, or at least two tones of those with black would be amazing. But I haven't even mentioned an F Sport Performance, which would obviously have to improve the power output. They could do something as simple as give it the full tune that we see on the LX 600, call it the GX 600 F Sport Performance, give it the 409 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque, call it a day. Simple as that. No, instead they lock you into the 349 horsepower, no F Sport option. But how amazing would it be if for an F Sport Performance they said, hey, you get the iForce Max, which is a twin-turbo V6 hybrid we see in the Sequoia, for example, but give it a premium tune, at least 460 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque. That would be an awesome F Sport Performance, but we don't get that. And lastly, where are the third-party additions from the factory for the Lexus GX? How many times? I think they've came out with 3 different GXOR concepts with tents on them, metal bumpers, improved suspension, lift kits, etc. They're not giving that to the Lexus GX after teasing it for years. Yes, the Overtrail is a good template to start on, but look at what they're doing with the Tacoma. They've teamed up with Old Man Emu. They've also teamed up with ARB and Rigid to come out with one badass Trail Hunter. So you have the Trail Hunter with all these aftermarket things from the factory, if that makes sense. Third-party companies working with them, but you don't have the Overtrail, which sounds a lot like Trail Hunter for the Lexus brand. They don't feature any of those add-ons for the GX from the factory, and I think a lot of people would have been happy with that. Lexus is missing this opportunity. Instead, they just give us, okay, well, here's a little roof rack system that you can tie stuff to, and maybe this is a sign of things to come because the skid plate seems to be a little bit different than the skid plate that was shown. And we also have some sliders here. Where are the sliders? Why can't we have these things from the factory? Why can't we have a more substantial front bumper here like we've had on the GXOR concepts? And that's something maybe they'll debut at a later date. We also have the door moldings here to protect it, which some people like. I don't know. Let me know what you think about the door moldings here for extra protection. But those are the top 10 things that I have to complain about the Lexus GX 550, which I actually had to do some digging to find some things. And I'm like, no vehicle is perfect. And I still think the GX is going to be a home run for the brand to give it the boxy design that we've been wanting for a long time from Toyota and Lexus. It kind of fixes all the shortcomings of the LX. It's essentially the same size of vehicle. It's going to have a hybrid. It's more rugged. It looks better. It gives us massaging seats. It has a pano roof. It has so many more features, a better head-up display. Like the list goes, there's a bigger screen, better like MID. I could go on and on and on why this is a better vehicle. Maybe that's a separate video altogether. The Lexus GX is going to be great for the brand, ranging from the base model that starts, my guess is going to start around $60,000 and all the way up to a fully loaded Overtrail or a luxury that is going to probably be $85,000 to $90,000 if you add every single option and package on top of it. I think it's going to be great for the brand. There's so much buzz and demand around it, and with the return of the Land Cruiser as well, you're going to have a 1-2 punch, one on the mass market Toyota end, and hopefully the Land Cruiser is a little bit more rugged looking at this, but from what I'm hearing, it might be very, very similar, but we'll see. We'll have a reveal soon enough. And the Lexus GX, like I said, overall, I am super happy with it. You guys could tell how excited I was when I was doing the walk around in Austin, Texas, not only of the Overtrail that you see on the screen, but of the premium model. And I also saw a picture of the luxury model, the 22-inch wheels that looked really, really sick. So I can't wait to drive the new GX, not only at a media drive, but to have it for a week with the family, throw the family in. But more than likely, they're probably just send me the Overtrail, so I can't bring my family in it. Ugh. But let me know down below, what are the things you are most excited about the new Lexus GX 550? And what are the things that you're most disappointed about? I got ended there. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Smash the like button, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.